Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. And this week I'm talking about temptation. And we get tempted all the time. Yesterday I mentioned that we get tempted a lot of times when we aren't where we should be. We also get tempted when we have a lack of humility. When we come from a position or a place where we think, hey, I've got the power, I deserve this. Not only do I can get away with it, nobody's going to catch me. I can do this. It's funny that actually, when interviews took place with former President Bill Clinton after the Monica Lewinsky thing, and he was asked about why did you think that you could get away with this? Why did you think that you could get away with adultery? And he said, it's because I didn't think anybody would care, because I felt like I deserved it. I had this feeling of I can do this. I have the power. You hear all the pride and arrogance in that statement, the lack of humility in that statement? Well, when we get puffed up in ourselves, when we start feeling so good about who we are, well, that's honestly opening the pathway and the doorway for weakness and offering the opportunity for temptation to come knocking. Because if we start thinking in our minds and creating excuses and justification for I deserve this. I own this. Nobody's going to catch me anyway. Besides that, I need the honor. It's mine. It's nothing about God then. It's all about us. I mean, isn't that the greatest reason that Adam and Eve in the garden did it to begin with? Was it was about them, about what they wanted, not about what God wanted. And so a lot of times in our scriptures and our stories, we'll see folks get tempted because they don't have that humility. My favorite definition of humility is knowing who God is and knowing who I am in the light of who God is. If I know who God is and I know then who I am in the light of who God is, then I know my place in the universe. I know my place in the world. I'm not I'm not the top dog. I'm not. And I never will be, because that's Jesus. That's God. And I don't need to be on his throne. Whether it's me judging or feeling like I'm too good for my oats, so to speak, yeah, we have to know who we are and know our place. In the book of Acts, there's a story, Acts chapter 5, where Ananias and Sapphira, his wife, they think they're good stuff. There's a practice going on in the church where folks will go and wealthy folks will go and they'll sell their property. And because they sold the property, they'll give all the proceeds of the property to the church, which will go into feed the folks in the church that are hungry, the widows and the orphans and folks that are in the famine. And Ananias and Sapphira, they get this plot in their mind. They think, nobody will catch us. This is our land anyway, and our money, we do what we want with it. We'll sell the land, and we'll take half of the proceeds to the church, but we're going to keep the other half. But we'll act like we gave everything else just like everybody else did, because, after all, it's us. And they don't see it. They don't see that they're going to get caught. In the story, as Ananias places the gifts before Peter, he struck dead, because Peter says, "Is this everything? Is this all of it? You said it was all of it. Is this all of it?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Ananias, why'd you say that? You lie. You lie before God." Ananias dies, and then Sapphira shows up looking for her husband, and Peter says, "Did you give everything?" And of course we did. And oh, Sapphira, the men who just got done carrying your husband out the door are going to be carrying you out next. It's not good for us to think better of ourselves than we are, because when we do, we're opening the door for temptation. We're opening the door to allow evil thoughts and evil pathways to go through our brain, and that's going to lead us down a path that's not better together. Take time today to humble yourself, to acknowledge who God is. In humility, see who you are in God's light and world. You are beloved. You are cared for as a child of God. And that's a good thing that you're not the top dog. It's a good thing to be the servant of Christ. It's a good thing to be a disciple, somebody who follows Jesus, rather than somebody who's trying to have all the things put together and all things right. When we acknowledge where we are weak, where we don't have it all figured out, it'll be a place where we can learn to be better together.